Hello and welcome to our quarterly webinar series presented in coordination with John Burns Real Estate Consulting Group. This is Lori Paddock, HomeSphere's National Accounts Coordinator. I want to formally welcome each of you to today's event, Doing More with Less, sponsored by HomeSphere's preferred partner, York. Our first presenter today is Brian Michael from York. York has been a preferred HomeSphere partner for over a decade and is committed to offering quality and reliable products for indoor environmental comfort. Today I want to welcome Brian Michael. Brian is the Director of Residential Sales Development and National Accounts. We will now hear a short presentation from Brian on behalf of York, today's sponsor. Brian, it's all yours.
Thank you for the introduction, Lori. Good day, everybody. My name is Brian Michael, as Lori said, and I'm Director for Residential Sales Development and National Accounts for the Unitary Products Group, which is a division of Johnson Controls Building Efficiency business, where we manufacture residential cooling and heating products under the York, Luxair, and Coleman brand names. I want to spend about 10 minutes today to tell you about some of our new products which we just launched that really were designed with home builders in mind, so you could do more with less. So at Johnson Controls, we're committed to supporting home builders. We've been in the indoor environmental comfort business for over 140 years and have lots of experience both on the residential and national stage. We've been a HomeSphere BRI partner for over a decade and have really had a great relationship with the staff at BRI. The primary brand that we support on the BRI program include York, Coleman, and Luxair. We also manufacture Fraser Johnson, Guardian, Champion, and the Evcon brands as well. We're really proud that we offer incentive programs that are tailored for local and regional builders through the HomeSphere program, and we also do support national home builders through direct relationships. All of our programs can be customized to fit single-family and multi-family builder projects, and we have product options that meet all builder applications by region or whatever is required for a specific market. Along with those ability to support the products after the sale, and we do that through an extensive network of distributor and dealer partners that ensure closings happen when they're scheduled for all of our home builders. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you to kind of segue into the rest of the presentation is the regional efficiency standards. And this should be old news to home builders at this point in time, but it really does drive some of the product decisions we've made at Johnson Controls for our York, Coleman, and Luxair brand. So effective January 1st, as you might be aware, the Department of Energy divided the country up into 3 segments based on efficiency. And what you can see here is anything in the dark black bold is a national standard, which primarily pertains to heat pumps at 14 SEER, as well as package units. And purple is regional standards, so north, southeast, and southwest. And the reason this is important from a builder perspective is depending on what market you're in, there's different products. So prior to this, York manufactured products that would certainly meet all the applications, but we took the regional efficiency standards and knowing the pending deadline as an opportunity to redesign our product line so that we can bring product to the marketplace that would fit the market requirements at the most competitive price point while also offering verified reliability and quality. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce our new LX series of home comfort products. These products include verified quality and reliability with over 125,000 hours of design, engineering, and testing. So we took the voice of the customer, including home builders, contractors, home buyers, distributors, and so forth, and took all their feedback and coupled that with all kinds of testing to come out with a great suite of products that we think is geared particularly well to the new construction market. And we're also proud to say that all these products are manufactured in Wichita, Kansas by many Americans who work very hard for this country. So I want to take a moment to talk about the verified quality and reliability. So here are some of the things that we've done to develop these products to ensure that when they're installed in your homes, they do as they're designed to perform and meet the homeowner needs as well. So we go through an extensive PDP process, which is a product development process that comes out of Johnson Controls Automotive Division. It's a phase-gated process that includes 5 phases. And what's really important about these phases is nothing can move to the next phase until all stakeholders sign off on it. So within these phases are a lot of extreme tests. So here's an example of some of the tests we've done for system reliability and life cycle testing. approximately 29 reliability tests with 442 total metrics. So one of the things we have is a highly accelerated life test lab right in Wichita, Kansas, and we can essentially simulate environments from -10 to 125 degrees Fahrenheit, so colds of Alaska to the deserts of Arizona. We can make it rain, snow, and so forth, and provide a multitude of environmental conditions. We also have a blower farm that continuously cycles the indoor blower motors to make sure they're functioning as properly as they can, as well as condenser fan motors, which are two of the key components that usually fail on an outdoor unit. We also do extensive corrosion testing, both in the lab and on our Daytona, Florida site, which is a pier located right off the beach of Daytona, Florida, which is a very corrosive environment. And you can see the far picture on the right. We also freeze units up and then thaw them out to see how they work. So these are just a few of the tests we do to ensure that we deliver verified quality and reliability. So one of the new products that we were pleased to announce officially the first week of September is our new line of air conditioners and heat pumps. And here's just a few of the advantages that I've pointed out for our home builders on the call today. So the first thing is we're going to bring you verified quality and reliability at a competitive price point. And we've done this by dedicating SKUs optimized for the DOA regional standard zones that allows for the best performance at the lowest cost. So if you're in a 14 SEER Southeast market versus a 14 SEER 12 EER requirement for the Southwest market, there usually requires a more expensive compressor. We've redesigned our products so that you're not paying for that more expensive compressor in a Southeast market and vice versa, as well as for our builders up in the north who are required to use 13 SEER. We've optimized these units as well so that you're getting the best price point designed for the regional standards. In the spirit of doing more with less, the new units have reduced footprint and are also coupled with alternative installation clearances that provide more space for other desired homeowner amenities. So if you think multifamily, these units fit well. You'll be able to fit many units in a bank but still have enough green space to have outdoor living for your buyers. They're installer friendly to reduce installation time and builder installation costs. One of the biggest design philosophies of the product was designing it for ease of installation and service from the contractor. And we've surveyed thousands of contractors to get their input on how to do that. Very quiet sound to keep neighbors happy. So if it's multifamily or single family, the houses next to each other aren't going to hear the units running. Really nice automotive quality, attractive appearance that complements the exteriors of your beautiful homes that you build. And again, built in America in Wichita, Kansas. All these products offer a 10-year worry-free warranties. And even more importantly, if you're signed up to use our brands under the HomeSphere BRI program, we have lucrative financial incentives to reward you on the back end in addition to the upfront product cost that you get from the contractor. We've also redesigned our air handlers and evaporator coils. So what's really nice about the new product line is we've moved to a full all-aluminum coil, which helps mitigate formatory corrosion, which many builders see in the tighter homes that we have out there today. We call this our max alloy technology. We also have a single-piece foil-face insulation with no external screws. This reduces thermal transmission and prevents sweating, so you don't have water dripping in the attic spaces if that's where they're installed. Less than 2% airflow leakage rate to assist with Energy Star and EFL goals. And in the spirit of doing more with less, these products also have shorter height standard widths that allow the product to fit easily into closets, attics, basements, and other tight spaces, which gives you more opportunity to eliminate closets and make big open spaces for more comfortable living. We've also optimized our system matchups with the air conditioners and heat pumps to provide the best performance at the lowest cost. They're installer friendly to reduce installation time and installation costs. And similar to the outdoor units, quiet blowers make peaceful indoor living for the home buyers. And again, these products are also built in Wichita, have 10-year warranties, and are backed with financial incentives through the BRI HomeSphere program. For those builders who are in markets with residential packet units, we have a new line of LX series residential package units. And what's nice about these, they save on interior space. They're self-contained, which is a perfect design to eliminate mechanical rooms in favor of more closet space, so you can do more with less. Flexibility to meet all builder applications. They're available in AC-only models, gas and electric heat pump, as well as hybrid dual fuel models for varied utility requirements. These are also designed for stringent verified quality and reliability at a competitive price point And just like our split products are installer friendly to reduce overall cost. We've also built these with sound in mind, so they're quiet. They also share the same premium finish to look great outside of the house, and are also built in Wichita, Kansas with 10-year warranties and financial incentives back through the JBREC program. In addition, we also have a great suite of other products that complement these that have been in the marketplace doing very well for home builders, including gas furnaces, which are nice, short, 33-inch tall product platforms to fit in tight spaces, including basements and attics. Ductless mini splits, which is the largest trend moving into the North American markets today, so that you can have multiple heads on a smaller condensing unit and have no ductwork, which can free up headroom and so forth for other things to present to the homeowner. They're also very cost efficient and energy efficient, up to 26, 27 SEER. In addition to the ductless mini splits, we have VRF, or variable refrigerant flow systems, under our York brands. And all of our systems are available with multiple control options, including Wi-Fi, communicating, and zoning applications. In addition, you can complement these products with a full suite of indoor air quality products, from humidifiers to ERVs to electronic air cleaners and so forth. If you want to see the products for yourself, be sure to come out and see us in the two of the big shows coming up in the next 6 months. First is the International Builder Show, which is January 19th to the 21st in Las Vegas, Nevada. Will be booth number S2410. And also a new show sponsored through HomeSphere is the Builders Remodeler Expo, held in Atlanta March 8th and 9th in 2016. We're booth number 1321. I look forward to seeing you at that show. So with that being said, that's my short presentation just to introduce you to our new product line. Again, my name is Brian Michael, Director of Residential Sales Development. My email address is here, as well as my phone number. Please feel free to contact me. And if you're using our brand, thank you for using York, Coleman, and Luxair. I'm going to turn it over to Lori so we can move on to Mollie Carmichael. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brian, for sharing information on your York products and the advantages offered to home builders. I know there are quite a few builders on today's call that will find that information useful. Just a reminder, if you do have any questions during the webinar, I encourage you to use the webinar chat feature to ask your questions, and will be covered at the end of the program, time permitting. We now turn our attention to today's core presentation from John Burns Real Estate Consulting. They are a partner of HomeSphere and are an industry leader in housing research. Today, they will be presenting on doing more with less. I would now like to pass over the presentation to Mollie Carmichael. Mollie is a principal at John Burns in the custom consulting practice. Mollie, I'll let you take it from here.
Thanks, Lori. Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking the time out to hear what we have to talk about today. We're going to talk a lot about home trends, what's going on with the consumer, and some new solutions out there that I think everyone should be thinking about. So as we dive in, here's just a recap of what we're going to cover. I'm going to cover a little bit about the company. I promise to be brief there. We'll talk about some market trends, as we talked about, and then we'll talk about some of the product solutions we're seeing out there with Design Lens, and then end with working together. So a little bit about us. We have 3 major products and over 60 consultants all over the country, basically looking for better information to help you make better decisions. We have a research team that's tracking everything that has to do with trends and forecasting, again, related to good real estate decisions. We've got consultants on the ground all over the country, and we spend a lot of time understanding what consumers want. We have a consumer survey out there right now talking to shoppers today about what they're looking for next and attitudes and things like that. And then also with our Design Lens product, we actually are tracking best trends across the country. So super busy out there. Again, we have divisions and people on the ground all over the country. And this is really what we do as a company. So as a whole, we're looking at market health, what demographics are shifting out there. We have a chief demographer on staff. He's fantastic, just tearing apart the census and really looking at what that means for housing decisions. We have a proprietary demand model that's looking at who's buying, what they're buying, and then, of course, consumer insights. What do they want? That is a great tool to look at, not just what they're purchasing, which is where we often look to, but what do they want, and how does that compare to what's out there? Then, of course, the typical stuff that most look at, which is what is on the ground out there. Isabel Cairns in our office is looking at a Design Lens solution, so what top products are out there across the country, and then, of course, we want to test it and help you to be financially sound. The two big things we're going to integrate into today's discussion has a lot to do with our consumer insights and design lens solutions. We are also going to be looking at some of the demographics and our research. How does consumer insights and design lens really work together? The focus for consumer insights is what do consumers really want next? Design for some of these things, and we're gonna talk about that together. Here's a little axis of what design lens looks like, and then of course consumer insights. We have 3 surveys that are out to date with over 50,000 responses, and we have 1 survey going out this year. Let's see how we do, but it's looking pretty good so far. It closes at the end of October. So first of all, let's start with know your market, know your consumer. Home size has doubled since 1950. So if you look at the average home size, it's 1,000 square feet in 1950. At the peak of size, which what we thought was peak in 2007, the average floor area was about 2,521. And the big question is, and that dropped, by the way, to about 2,000 square feet. The big question is do they want larger? And the answer is yes. If we ask, do they want a bigger home? The answer across all regions is yes, they do want a bigger home. There's still about a third that are looking for smaller. There's about another third across regions that are looking for equal in size. But interestingly enough, as typical, when prices start to go up and land values become more challenging, of course, in the new home world, we start building a lot bigger. So in 2013, the average floor area actually increased above 2007 with 2,598 according to the census. So we're getting bigger again. So I want to look at some of the facts and talk about, do we really need to go this much bigger, or should we be thinking about smaller? So first of all, can they afford it, and what should you consider? So let's look at just some of the simple things. This is total population in 2015. So if we look at the 2 largest generations, the boomers and the Gen Ys, boomers are looking to move down. They are, in fact, when I look at those numbers for consumer insights, they do want smaller. When I look at the millennials who don't own a home yet, or most of them don't, about 17% are out there shopping today. We expect that to peak and grow substantially by 2019. A lot of them just can't afford a home, so they're renting, or they're out there with mom and dad at home, or other solutions other than owning a home. So again, how do we provide some affordable solutions as we go forward? Non-family, if you look at the census, it's actually growing, while married households are actually dropping. If we look at households with 1 person, that's also growing. So we're seeing a huge number. Look at the difference from 1960 to 2014. If we look at household size, it's on the decline. Again, sort of pointing to, why are we building such big homes? Why are we actually increasing in size? And I know a lot of that has to do with land values. I was a home builder for 10 years. I was a developer for 10 years. But are there other solutions out there? If we look at marriage trends, certainly we're getting married later. And part of that's financial, and part of that's choice. But in 1980, the average age was 22. In 2013, the average age was almost 27. And as we look to that age, it's certainly grown substantially over time as far as age is considered. If we look at family households, again, shrinking. 49% were married with children in 1967. Today, it's about 24%. So again, family sizes are shrinking. We're seeing a lot more single households out there, and all suggesting that we would look at sort of smaller homes potentially. Delayed family, as we talked about. The 65-plus market will grow by 18 million in the next 10 years. So again, looking at that market that does want to downsize and does in fact want smaller, that's growing dramatically. We look at ethnic diversity. Ethnic diversity is growing, and why is that important? In our numbers, as we look at consumer research, they typically do want smaller. They don't value large yard spaces, for example, and they are coming from much smaller homes from different parts of the world. And so that's something to consider as you're looking at housing. 14% of your shoppers were actually born in another country. In addition, the younger the profile, the much more ethnically diverse that profile is. Delayed household formation. We're seeing delays in household formation for the reasons we just talked about. Marriage is delayed. Having children is delayed. As we look to where a lot of that growth is going to happen in the future, it still remains in the suburban locations. So 66% in suburban, but 19% in urban, albeit urban growth is up by about 25% compared to 2010 to 2015. Rural growth has almost doubled, but still at only 15%. Even driving is delayed, and this is really interesting, and that does impact home size and how we think about garage spaces and things like that, and certainly the car. 93% had a license in 1980, and 77% have a license today between the ages of 20 to 24. If you look at things like Zipcar and Uber, all those things are changing how we look at the car, the automobile, how we get around, and once again, just doing more with less. Last but not least, student debt certainly has had an impact on our millennials growing up and actually getting to ownership. Things like this, all these financial impacts, and certainly life stage, are having an impact on new household formation. So let's talk about the market a little bit. If we look at today's markets, this is actually from our research products, and we look at actually the overall rating nationally. You can see a lot of the markets are actually still very warm to hot, and that's based on current market conditions, based on our housing cycle risk index. If we actually look at pricing, though, we're continuing to see a lot of pressure on pricing, and that's adding more pressure to affordability. If we look at price increases forecasted for the future, the good news is nationally it looks very positive. So we're looking at increases of 3 to 5%, but on the decline as we hit 2018. Again, there's a lot of reasons for that, but certainly affordability is a portion of that. If we look at today, are prices actually overvalued? So many people are talking about affordability today, and are we actually overvalued in some markets? And at current interest rates at 4%, we're fairly valued, as you can see on the West Coast, and undervalued still in many of the markets across the country, particularly on the East Coast. And we're seeing some slight to overvalue in Austin. But look what happens if we actually take values to 6%. There is that threat that we could have some impacts of being overvalued. And so you start to see some impacts to some of these markets. And if we get overvalued, where is demand the highest? Builders and developers can perform successfully during good times and in bad. And I'll use Orange County as the example. You know, at the worst point of the market, we still sold 25,000 homes in Orange County. So what are the homes, what are the product solutions that if the market should shift or any of these things become a real threat, what should you be thinking about for good solutions as we go forward to the future? So again, do they want larger? Some, absolutely. They do want larger, but the real key is what's important. They have to be able to afford it. And so when we look at the top motivations from our consumers, from our consumer research, first is location, second is price. I have to be able to afford it. Third, which is really important, is home design. And that's about form, function, all those things that are so important. And by the way, that ranked above safety, street scene, schools, accessibility. So home design is really a big, big feature. But again, they have to be able to afford it. And so as prices continue to rise and there's more pressure on affordability, we've got to be thinking differently for the future. So top prompts to buy, let's look at this. Amongst the 10 prompts, they wanted a different home layout, which was above price. They're seeking new features and designs, particularly as we look at the boomer market. So those new features and design and new home layout are really big, and that's why they're out there shopping in that, you know, in your new home models and things like that. Most important features, again, amongst the 10 we asked them about, interior style and more function over size. So again, if we can think about function and size, I think that's really, really important here. And here's a simple example of that. There's a ton of them throughout the consumer research that we do. But if we ask them, you know, would you take a smaller yard if we designed it better for entertainment? The outdoors on the left was the preferred across the entire country as the favorite. So these are all the images that we gave them to choose from. Again, the big backyard here, you know, the one with the view, all of these. But the #1 yard preference was that one that created a better solution, which is better entertainment outside. So doing more with less. Let's look at some solutions from Design Lens, from some of the research we've done. Small really can be the new big, and let's look at some great solutions out there. So think function first. So again, Design Lens is our resource here. There's over 800 projects. We've got 50 of the newest projects in the last 6 months, and we've got 30 design experts helping us spot great design. We've got best design in their class. That's really how we're classifying it. And there's a variety of products for affordable, move up, luxury, and so on. So, whoops, I went too fast. So size is really evolving. You know, everybody had an SUV. It was the coolest car in town, and why? It's, you know, it carries everything, and it's great for families and so forth. And we're seeing a huge evolution as far as cars go. So we had the BMW Mini, which is fantastic, and they're now moving that around in size. The Pope's now driving around in the Fiat, which that was a great sight to see. And then we've got some of these really interesting cars here that frankly are great for parking, some new ways or new solutions that I think the car industry is looking at to solve for both affordability and size. But I loved this cartoon. This was great because I think this applies to housing as well as cars. You have the one on the left that's saying, hey, fuel efficient, more compact and lighter, but you know, in the big cars I can really guarantee safety. Well, the small car is basically saying, I'm big and I'm equally safe for my driver, but I can guarantee, and this is key, efficiency and fuel economy. So why it's efficient, it's cool, and frankly, affordability is a big part of it. So if we look back at the history in housing, you know, back to 1950 when home sizes were again under 1,000 square feet, it was simple, it was charm, and frankly accommodated the family. Those are still, and as you can see on the homes to the far right, we cover a lot of historical neighborhoods in Design Lens. It's probably my favorite part of that product. But really the charm is there, and these are some of the highest valued neighborhoods across the country. Now I realize setbacks and lot size and things like that have changed, but there's a lot of interesting solutions out there that we'll cover as well. Look how great those homes are. I also wanted to highlight this was a small little home by an architect. That these are referred to as Casada Cottages. It was a result of some of the hurricanes. And to make a long story short, this was intended to be a temporary solution. But at the end of the day, this temporary solution really became a favorite amongst a lot of people, and people started requesting these as homes. And what was so special about these cottages, it wasn't just the fact that it provided housing and frankly shelter during a time that they were transitioning while their new home was being built, but it had large outdoor space on the porch. It was very functional in the main space, which is family room, kitchen area, and was very popular. So interestingly enough, there's some cute characteristics that tie with some of the historical houses that we all like so much in those great neighborhoods throughout the country. This is a new neighborhood that is very reminiscent of what we just saw. This is actually in Indianapolis. They're small little cottages that face onto a nice green. The Cottage Company is another company out there doing some cute things like this too. But these homes drive a very high premium for these small little homes. And who are they selling to? They're selling to those boomers that are moving down, and very charming. And again, it's the same principles as the Casada Cottages. It's the large porches, great entertainment on the inside, and they live very, very well. There's micro-housing out there, and this certainly is a new kind of product that's popping up all over the country. It's simply oftentimes anywhere from 200 to 400 square feet. It lives like a big studio. It often has social spaces inside that add to this kind of living, but frankly, it's a great solution, particularly if you want a second home close to your kids because you moved to that place you've always wanted to live, or if you need a second home because you're working more often in different locations, or frankly, you just need affordable housing. So it's affordable, it's flexible, it's efficient, and they're oftentimes in great locations. This may appear extreme as you look to some of these things, as you're looking to the bunk above the staircase or the bunk above the kitchen. But again, every single space matters here. Just even simply the desk area that wraps around the piece holding up the second level, or all the storage along that back wall. Any way that you can make use of storage, consumers really value and appreciate that you thought about it. Again, another sort of small, multifunctional space, but it lives well and it's divisable. Much like we have divisable spaces in multi-purpose multi-purpose spaces in rec amenities. This is a multi-purpose space that's just divisible. When I need it, I use it, and when I don't, I don't. It's a great use of space. Here's a great product. This was done by Crown Townhomes, and I love this product. It's 17 to the acre, but large for a townhome product, 2,000 to 2,400 square feet. But this is a great new solution that works. So let me show you some of the stuff they did. Private outdoor space, no matter the size, is important. So they have private outdoor space, as you can see, off the second level. That's the main living area. And then they also did rooftop decks, and it really made a difference for this builder. Look how cool these outdoor rooftop decks are. If I can't afford the backyard in the single-family detached house, this is a great way to do it. And boomers love the view. We all love the view. There's a new community that just opened here in Orange County. One model did a rooftop deck, and I went up to the rooftop deck, and I think 25 people were standing on this rooftop deck, and it was the #1 reason that product was the best seller in that community. Then there's just simply the cool factor. I mean, this is a cool and fun space with loft space up on that 3rd and sometimes even 4th level. Here's a product that's 15 to the acre, single family detached. This was by MBK Homes in Costa Mesa. It was an infill area that it was basically sort of a redevelopment piece. But look how great this feels on the inside. And look at what just a little pop of color can do for that elevation. Now remember, your elevation can look like this. This can work on the East Coast or the West Coast. This happens to be the West Coast. But take that style and just simply make it that style. It's the same application, the same bones, the same function. Just turn the style differently. Private outdoor space matters. This is that same product, living very well from the kitchen into the family room. And again, a nice little outdoor space on the main living area, and then a nice outdoor space on top too. Here's another product. This is actually in Stapleton, but look at this authentic charm. This was really designed as a result of, when you look back at Beacon Hill and some of those great places on the East Coast, this has very much a authentic and East Coast feel, but look how great these live, and they live like, again, single family detached homes. But one of the things they did was just something very special with that outdoor space, again, taking authenticity and historical charm and adding some new elements to it, like this rooftop deck, but still holding the charm that we treasure so much, which are these great porches. What a great feature, and again, just really paid off for them in the end. This is, in its simplest form, just simple, small, authentic architecture. Again, that porch that everybody loves so well, but look, simple roof line, very simple product. This was actually a small little master plan that actually was challenged back in 2005, 2006, closed, and then John Whelan Homes actually reopened, value engineered, but still held the integrity and the charm of this product, and I think did a very nice job with it. They added little special gestures that count, and just with the curved little staircase, the little window seat, this was the surprise that you got on the 3rd level. I think every floor plan, no matter the size, should have a couple surprises that people say, remember that house, it had this. Those are the things that will make customers come back, and frankly, those are the things that will make customers buy your home. Look at this island. It's small, just done large. It's a tiny little kitchen, and they just did this great little feature that wrapped around that island, and it makes a very small space live very well. And it's those little gestures, again, that just really can make a difference. So look at this tiny little kitchen. They were smart enough just to pop this in. It's a ledge by day, and I'm sure that pops up, throw some stools around it, and it can be an island or ledge by night. Instead of the big refrigerator, this was a small little refrigerator that actually, whether it's in a multi-gen space or it's actually part of a very small studio or the micro unit, just a great way to have small refrigerator space. This is actually, again, Sea House, that's the 15 to the acre product. The one thing I wanted to point out here is just how important it is to use those corner spaces. That corner space can add a lot to a kitchen that doesn't have a lot of cabinet space. Light can really make a difference. This is a Cena by Toll Brothers. This is actually a 4,000 square foot lot. It's a 0 lot line. They made these yards feel fantastic. So they were great entertainment yards. but that space added so much to what would otherwise have felt like a small space. So this is another floor plan from that product, and I just wanted to point out they used every single space in the home, and it's these little angles that actually allow me to get a better great room. The flow of traffic feels a lot better, and I was able to pop in just a much bigger closet, or they were able to pop that in, and it just kind of added to the whole space and gave me just, an overall better floor plan to look at. So as I go to the side space, I just want to make sure you use every single space that you can, add as much function as you can. Yes, this is actually 25 to the acre. I've had this actually quoted slightly higher than 25 to the acre, and it is detached. So JZMK and TrueMark did this together, JZMK being the architect. Fantastic, 1,200 to 1,400 square feet. Again, this is a very contemporary exterior. You can put any exterior shell or style that you want to on this, but they really thought about all those special details. And I was actually pretty impressed with the direct construction costs on this too. But great little private outdoor space. That's great for that customer to have. They have small little balcony spaces that at least allow you to sort of go out to the outside on each of those levels, but it feels really good on the inside. So here's a view from the inside from the two on the back. They could have covered that with all cabinets. Putting some light in there made that space feel better, and frankly, there's some savings from not throwing cabinets along that entire back wall. And then added just a little piece of furniture that added a lot of character, and I love that light fixture. So here's a closer view of that. Look how that light really opens up that space, and imagine that space with cabinets across the back and no light. It really was the right decision. A couple of other details. This is our own Isabel Karen who took this picture. But this is actually just adding light into a hall space that doesn't otherwise have windows. So just dropping in those extra pieces that add some light into those spaces that could have otherwise been dark. This was a cool feature in that type product. This is another floor plan, again, showing how light makes a difference. They chose not to put any of the uppers on this kitchen, and look how fantastic that feels. Great merchandising too, but overall functions well, and again, they added their own piece in the middle just to add some character to the space. There's other little pieces that I thought were special here too, just adding these cute little mirrors, but for an otherwise very small bathroom, this feels very good. White always helps. Storage makes a huge difference when it comes to small space. So just adding this little storage opportunity, I think, is great, and having a little extra space as you go into that space allows you to have those pieces that can help for function dropping, whether it's book bags or stuff. In some cases, you may even use that for bikes, who knows. Function and form. We're seeing a lot of barn doors come out there as opposed to the old pocket door that, frankly, we had a lot of customer service issues, or the door that swings out. These new barn doors are just making better function, and it looks good. So this was a little sort of divisable barn door that really shut off that utility that could otherwise be a service kitchen and laundry space and so on that you have access to. And this was actually a fairly small home. Small but luxurious. So if you look at this, you have the dual sinks, and then there's just the shower that sits right behind. It was a great use of space, and it looks really cool and fun. This is actually in Palm Springs. It's also important to note that this would be great universal design. So you don't have the step that you need to step over and things like that. So very positive there too. Oftentimes when we're designing townhomes, we typically want to stick the kitchen in the back, the dining room in the middle, and the family room in the front, and it causes an interesting traffic pattern, frankly, that ends up causing a lot of wasted space. In this particular case, they put the kitchen in the middle, and boy, it sure felt great because it allowed the kitchen to have function. These chairs can pull in and out. You have the dining room off the back, and then you have a really great family room too. So it had a very nice feel, and then certainly the volume adds a lot of charm to this otherwise small space by comparison. Texture can make a difference. So when you have those flats and towns and you walk in and it's a carriage unit, and you're going to step up those stairs and then the single level flats upstairs, that can sometimes be kind of a brutal entrance. And not to say this is completely brutal, but this is probably a more brutal entrance as you're coming through the door here. But there's a couple of things that you can do to open that up and really make it feel better. So whether you can pop some volume there, and I've seen this done quite a bit, and obviously that open stair rail helps if you can do that, or just simply adding some texture to the left just to pull your eye and add a little bit more character to that. You can see between those three solutions, again, you can really make that small space count. Color can really, really make a difference. And so just look at these. I'm seeing a lot of interesting architecture, particularly in the Denver market. But just these little pops of color with the awning and the door over here. Even just this fire hydrant just popped in red. It really adds quite a bit of character. This was an extremely popular product, both different products, by the way. This is MBK in Costa Mesa, and this is actually in the Denver market. But you can see how that would be very, very popular with the millennial consumer. Texture makes a difference as you're getting vertical and you're trying to actually work with density so that you can provide some affordable housing in great locations. Again, the color to awning, but really just adding this additional texture here really made a difference for that overall street scene. And certainly we're seeing some fun things, obviously, with garage doors too. But that can all help to make that density feel good. Making small feel large, glass really helps. And even just this texture on the outside, it just makes that room feel 5 to 6 feet bigger, the extension of that outdoor space. Hall space that would otherwise be just frankly considered wasted space. This was a great way just to add a little office in there and make it multifunctional. And it's not the office that feels like a linen cabinet. I mean, this is really a great office space. This is a 29 to the acre product. This was built by Shea Homes. It's Lucent. Mike Woodley was the architect. And you can actually see just adding this corner wow feature. And it's a wow. And then stepping out to this great outdoor space, it makes that whole family room feel that much bigger. So again, great little features that make a small space feel so much better and so much bigger. They feel very well. I thought this was really clever. This is my own photography. Sorry, it's not a great picture, but I love the space. I mean, it's a small little outdoor space, but just having the little dining room out there, and how clever just putting this landscaping up against the wall that had some character and texture to it. I thought it was really a nice touch. This was fantastic. So imagine this. The lot size, I think, is about a 70 by 70 lot size. So it's a wide, shallow lot. And this was done by Bryland. And it's a pass-through garage. So this is actually the garage on the back side. They added about another 5 feet to that garage because oftentimes people use the garage for fitness and just a little extra space to do fitness. And look what's on the other side. So that pass-through garage goes right into the backyard, and they put this cool little entertainment space. My husband would love this. I think every guy would love this. I would love this. It was fantastic. This was another great solution to small space and using the side yard. So instead of putting that glass off the back, because this was a cluster configuration, they actually put the glass on the side. And so having that whole space open, and this was a water feature right here, but I could see setting up a buffet and entertainment just flowing right outside. It really, really took a side yard space that would have otherwise been dead, not used, and made this house feel another 5 feet wider and just entertain fantastically. Connecting all space. I mean, all these, there's a lot being used with these glass doors. I'm excited to see those all over the country. And the preference for this, by the way, is as popular in Minnesota as it is in East Coast and West Coast. But really just connecting all those spaces just makes the space feel bigger and better. Half wall versus the half wall versus rail. If you look at this, a lot of times I will see these great loft spaces, and they'll put the rail here, and then you can't furnish anything against it. So I just wanted to show this is a great feature to make those small little loft spaces work. So use that half wall. Don't spend the money on the rail, and let them furnish against it, and it really feels great, and it will cost you less. So a couple of little extras, just check out what's under the stair. I mean, I can't tell you how many livability groups. We do a lot of focus group research where I will have consumers come back and say, let me show you what's under the stair and what we did with it. Why isn't anybody using that space? And in this particular case, in both solutions, a little office or niche area here, a little storage area, and kind of fun space here. And that's a fantastic staircase. We're seeing a lot of floating staircases come back. But use that space under the stairs. It really can make a difference. Here is something small but big to the consumer. How cool is that? I mean, that's obviously a wow and certainly more expensive. Maybe doesn't fall into the affordable category, but certainly a great use of small space. And this is a pretty high-end location, so it made a lot of sense to use every single crevice of the home. And certainly I'm seeing a lot of elevators popping up so that they can make vertical work for that boomer consumer that wants a great location, but they can't necessarily give them a sprawling ranch in that great location. So elevators, be looking for those because I think they're popping up a lot more and all over the country. Little functional things consumers really love when you think about this stuff. And this is customer service stuff that will really pay off on the end, just thinking about these little pockets. This is both function and form. I featured this in our kitchen and bath series, but I thought that was just sort of a special little feature. It adds texture, it adds character. Even this little shelf here, just again, texture, character that makes a space that could have been ordinary pretty extraordinary. Think of all those corner pockets that end up being dead space. Just pulling out the island. This is a free furniture piece that you can show them if you don't include the island because you're really striving to provide more affordability. What a great piece. And just creating these little extra sort of uses. I think it really helps. Those are the things that they think, wow, they really thought about me and how we live. Fantastic. And really, last but not least, just make every space count. I'm really seeing builders make great use of the pantries. And when you have a tiny little pantry, this is big function for a very small space, and they really, really appreciate it, even if this becomes an option. So that's it for us. Stay informed. Join our new home monthly product tours. We do have Designlands is a subscription service that we'd love to share more. We're sharing 10 new products every month. We're sharing master plans in historical neighborhoods. Again, Consumer Insights is launching now. If you are a builder that has 5,000 or more on your traffic list, we do invite you to participate. We would love to have you as a Designlands client as well, learning about all these great new solutions that are coming out every month. We're trying to stay apprised from East Coast to West Coast for you. So thank you. We appreciate you working together. We couldn't do this without the help of the builders and design experts across the country that are helping to contribute to all of this. If you'd like a copy of the presentation, I know that you can reach out to Lori or Heather, or certainly reach out to me directly. And Isabel Cairns can also help you on Designlands if you have an interest there too. And that's it for us. Thanks for listening today. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Mollie. I want to thank Mollie Carmichael at John Burns Real Estate Consulting, as well as Brian Michael at York for their valuable information today. We had a couple of questions, so I just wanted to make sure that we addressed those as well before we end the webinar today. Mollie, one of the questions that came in was, when we look at this trend of doing more with less, is this something that crosses all of the age groups, or are you finding that it's more specific to a particular age group or generation?
There's no question it crosses over to all age groups. And just logically speaking, if you could do more with less, then it could be more affordable, and that allows you to afford more other things in your life, you would do it, right? And so I always use it's an overused example, but if you look at the big boom box and then you look at what the iPhone did for music, phone, calendar, and all those things, if we can, obviously, we're always constantly striving to give them more function in a smaller size that's simple. I think people are just looking for simplicity. But they want it to look good, and they want luxury, and they want all the things that go with it, but simplicity is the key.
Wonderful. Another question that we got in was, are you seeing this trend in urban regions as well as suburban and rural areas? Is it across all of those?
Yes.
Great. All right, well, those are most of our questions for today. Thank you, and remember to take a moment to like HomeSphere on Facebook to stay tuned for future webinars and event opportunities throughout the year.